Previously on Miss President.
Can you start to imagine that 10% of 15-year-old girls are actually exchanging sex for pads?
Menstrual poverty also puts girls at the risk of getting toxic urinary and genital system infections.
If you're not involving us men within this conversation, you're not getting anywhere.
When you are at this level of the competition, it is important that your voices be heard and be felt. And we feel that this week you relaxed. And so it is the end of your journey in the Miss President Academy.
I ask again, is Kenya ready for a female president? Passwords, fingerprint scanners, software tracking. Why is it I always feel like somebody's watching me? National security is our topic for today. In today's episode, the contestants will undergo training, will be given tasks, various challenges, and problem-solving activities. They will respond through presentations before judges Zippy, Jerry, and Michael. Eliminations are expected in every episode, but we leave this to the judges' discretion. Those who impress will remain. However, there will be only one Miss President.
Over 700 applications were received from all over Kenya, and from these, 350 contestants were shortlisted. After a series of auditions, over 50 women were selected, and they will now battle it out at the Academy for the coveted title of Miss President. In the race to be elected Miss President, we have the following contestants.
What kind of a person do I want to be Miss President? Is the one who looks like they can bring us all back together to work together, because all of us, we are really endowed with a lot of skills and knowledge and leadership abilities.
Being given a second chance, I said that I'll do personal improvements because my county needs this skill, my county needs this knowledge, and now that I'm the only remaining from the North Rift region.
Rama Ramadan is a lawyer who serves as a researcher at the Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies, CHRIPS, a leading international African research center based in Kenya that conducts high-quality policy-relevant research on security governance, violence, crime, policing, and human rights. She is keen on generating and disseminating new knowledge that facilitates developing innovative and effective policy solutions to pertinent security challenges in Africa.
This week, we have an expert on things governance and security. I'd like to introduce you to your trainer, Miss Rahma Ramadan.
Thank you very much, Chris. If we think about national security, we're definitely talking about protection of our internal borders and our external borders from threats. So in terms of the legal framework that needs to be guiding us, what should we be looking at?
Already we have the provisions of the Constitution in Chapter 14, Article 240, that looks at the institutions which are charged with catering for the national security, and that is the National Intelligence Service, and also we have the Kenya Defence Force, and also we have the Kenya Police.
I would like to say that we also look at the parliamentary legislations. That is in accordance to Article 247, where the Parliament is supposed to enact laws that will guide the national security organizations. Thank you.
It's not enough that we have a constitution that has a whole chapter that outlines matters to do with national security, but now we also need to keep abreast with what is happening and keep on checking on new laws. As security practitioners, things happen all the time. Situations change all the time. We have different threats. We had COVID. COVID needed a security response aspect as well. So it's not enough for you to know the law after it has been enacted, but you need to be able to understand the policy making process so that you ensure that what you think is important for your government to address back down at the county has been tabled in Parliament. A lot of the times in security conversations, it's hard to include everyone, right? So the best way that has been done so far is including citizens through their clusters. Most of the times the solutions that we're looking for, the best people who can tell you about the solutions are the people who are going through these problems. A lot of the times in security matters, your intelligence, your data, your information, you will find it at the ground. Your involvement, even beforehand, should include every one of these voices.
The common mwananchi on the ground is supposed to be maybe involved one-on-one to make sure that you know the root cause and how to solve different security issues. What are we going to do to make sure that there is that inclusivity and the common mwananchi on the ground can feel that they are part and parcel of solving the security issues in different counties?
It's somehow unrealistic that you will go to a village and ask everyone and they will tell you, I was involved personally, right? But still, you need to be able to make sure that the system that you have working for yourself gets as much contribution from the people as possible. And security matters, as much as it's a national security issue, it's devolved as well. That's why you have the county commandant's office there, the county commission's office there, which also plays a part because it's a representative of the government as well.
The tasks for today's assignment are as follows.
Question 1, is profiling in law enforcement effective policing? So A, discuss the above statement, supporting your answer with the relevant laws and policies, and give 2 local and 2 regional or international examples. Question 2, give 5 gaps and 5 challenges of police accountability architecture of Kenya. The second part of question 2, propose 5 effective recommendations for strengthening police accountability and oversight.
And now, let us have a look at the key highlights from the topic of this week's episode. The contestants will be divided into groups as leadership does not work in a vacuum. Leaders are required to work with people from all walks of life. While working within these groups, the contestants will be tested on their ability to lead or work as a team. The contestants have been reshuffled, chosen the group president, and have now settled into their new groups.
we give police officers a chance to go to also KSG to learn new ideas and new things on technology, on how well to really enforce. And after that, their salary has been increased based on that regard.
We have 5 issues that we have identified. At the Nyumba Kumi initiative, we have a bit of the example, and then we have lack of knowledge of the existing structures and accountability structures.
Do we find it effective? We answered the question as a yes, because this method has been proven to be very effective, and many criminals have faced the full force of the law as a result of such profiling.
We all have access to rights and of dignity and freedom, freedom of movement, freedom of speech, but also freedom of dignity and security.
Our judges for this season are:
My name is Dr. Zipi Okoth. I am a lecturer at KCA University, a gender consultant, an award-winning filmmaker, and founding director of the Lake International Pan-African Film Festival. I will be looking for someone who is informed, bold, visionary, and has a unique leadership predisposition.
Hi, my name is Jerry Kirene. I am a policy advisor and researcher and an advocate for women's advancement. I am looking for courage, determination, and excellence. I will be kind but firm, as I feel at the Academy there is no room for mediocrity.
My name is Michael Onyango. I am the founder and lead and the agenda setter for Kenya's largest and most trusted social media platform, WhatsApp, the Forgotten Bottom Millions. 4BM, a social enterprise currently reaching over 500,000 persons every week via WhatsApp and transforming the lives of thousands of Kenyans. I will be looking for audacious, bold, and daring leaders.
Profiling means ways in which we automate processing of personal data, that is through by race, sex, pregnancy, ethnic, social origin, color, age, belief, interests, behaviors, locations, and movements. As our group, we are saying yes, profiling is effective in an effective law enforcement policy. And our good officers that are doing this job are actually 105,000 officers with a ratio of 1 police officer to 450 citizens. Thank you.
We need to ask ourselves, what is the legal backing? And the legal backing, we're looking at the international laws. And in the international laws, we have international covenant of civil and political rights, which advocates everyone has a right of liberty and security. We also are looking at the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, where every individual has a right to the liberty, freedom, and dignity. The Constitution has not left us behind. It's the supreme law of the land. Chapter 14 emphasizes on national security. We're leaning so much on supporting profiling because we need to identify and investigate suspects wherever they are.
When we're looking at the national context of Kenya, we've classified our challenges. We've classified them into 2. So the first sphere is on technology, using technology in the service delivery, which really hinders accountability from all angles, because the gaps which are there is that there are insufficient platforms to do this, and then this gives an opportunity for inconsistent reporting. And then the challenges we get to see from here is that we have manual record keeping, even that when you want to really follow up a report on something within the police service, it becomes an issue. And then we have the legal and political sphere, which is number 4. The gaps is that there is a lack of independence in the police service. And then there are laws that hinder the delivery of their services. So the challenges we see here is that politicians are infiltrating the police service, and we also see police service commissioners defying parliamentary orders to appear in parliament to clarify issues. And then there's also the issue of Article 49, where you need to deliver a suspect within 24 hours. This is something that really hasn't been practical. And then the recommendations we have here is, number 1, to delink the police from the office of the president. Now that it is a service, no longer a force, then we can do more. There's professionalism, and then and having punitive measures for those who don't adhere.
what informs profiling in Kenya? It's largely anchored on Article 238(1) of the Constitution of Kenya, which talks about the national security of our country, so that we're looking at protecting our internal and external integrity as a country, the sovereignty of our people, our property. So as a group, we agree that we do need profiling, because for you to be able to protect your sovereignty as a country, you need to be able to identify, or as quickly as possible, a threat to your national security, and to also be able to anticipate threats to your national security. However, Article 238(2) proceeds to give the disclaimer where it says, in our endeavor to put in place measures of national security, we have to respect the rule of law, democracy, human rights, and fundamental freedoms. And then this is further buttressed by the Data Protection Act, which prohibits profiling that produces legal effects concerning or significantly affecting our people.
Several years ago, it was assumed that everybody who has dreadlocks is a Mongeke. And so many of them were hunted and arrested on the same basis of having dreadlocks. And I can confirm to you that I am not Mongeke. Mathare slums has a very high crime rate. So unfortunately, when the police start looking for the criminals, they go for the young ones, the young men in the slums. And so that is how the criteria that they use to look for the criminals. Unfortunately, some of them are shot and killed on the same basis of, being assumed to be criminals because of their ages. Internationally, we want to look at the racial discrimination. George Floyd was in a store and he was assumed to have used a fake dollar. Unfortunately, when he was arrested by the police put him down, and instead of taking him through the judicial process and he had surrendered, they put him down and he was killed by the police on the spot.
UN provides that the ratio of police to citizens should be 1 to 450 citizens. But the case here in Kenya is 1 police officer to 600 citizens. Then structural gaps, we have institutions such as IPOA, which are supposed to provide, or rather to be a link to citizens at the grassroots. But we see that the centralization of these institutions. In Kenya alone, we have only around 10 offices of IPOA regionally. Then we have the challenges. The first thing is that we lack information on reporting procedures. Then we have high rise of mental wellness cases. What are we going to do about the gaps and challenges? So the first thing is that we should improve technology, and then revisit remuneration of police officers to ensure that their welfare is well taken care of. Then conduct a civic education. Go down to the grassroots and teach people how the reporting mechanisms are done, so as to create awareness. Then finally, let us do training for our police officers to amplify their skills and competencies.
The positive effects of profiling is that criminal profilers can actually be hired as detectives and put in the midst of people who've actually been profiled to live within them, so that they're able to nab criminals, they're able to gather information. At the same time, it also creates heightened potential for victim protection or awareness. A few months ago, there was this Mchele gang, what was it called? The Bishori Babes. They were able to actually profile and say that a certain number of women, or certain women, can actually go into clubs and spike your drink. So through that, they were able to actually inform the people, who are now able to actually protect themselves. So the potential victims are protected. It increases security awareness in various fronts. It provides for basics for investigation. It facilitates collection of evidence and helps in prediction of futuristic approach to security, and therefore it helps the security arms to be more prepared. What are the challenges? They can be misuse of personal information, especially where data is used online, and it interferes with people's basic rights, like the right to association, and some people have actually undergone extrajudicial killings, like terror suspects.
We have Chapter 4 of the Kenyan Constitution, Section 35, guarantees each and every citizen of this country access to information. And there is Computer Misuse and Cyber Security Act 2018, Section 14, where there is a penalty. If at all you will access someone's data without the authority, there is 5 million Kenyan shilling which you are supposed to pay, or serve a jail term of 3 years. And internationally, we have the End Racial and Religious Profiling Act 71, which states that each and every religion or race has to be respected. We have different examples, maybe on of profiling. There is religion whereby Muslims are profiled for terrorism, denied rights to wear maybe religious attires. Locally in Kenya, for instance, northern Kenyan counties, there was a time I was told to show off my ID, state my name, which is on the ID, my ear, and afterwards I'm supposed to sing the national anthem to reaffirm that I'm a Kenyan citizen.
I'll just go through the challenges with accountability architecture. I first of all want to talk about poor coordination of intelligence and efforts between the security agencies, and we've seen how this has played out during the Westgate terrorist attack, the Dusit terrorist attack, and the Baragoi attack, which further risked citizens' lives. Also, lack of mental health management training during the National Police Service training. We've seen policemen who've gone on a spree to shoot citizens, commit suicide, and even, shoot members of their own family. Then the low quality of media reporting, which further compromises our security response mechanisms. And I also want to talk about the use of old technologies in responding to the latest cybercrime security attacks. And also, lastly, national security is not devolved, which further compromises coordination efforts within the 47 counties.
I'd like to give some recommendations to ensure that we have effective administration of these accountability measures. When Mwananchi sees the police, they see money. We're suggesting going cashless in terms of collecting fines, and also to deal with cybercrime. We find that the police are not prepared to deal with cyber threats, so we suggest capacity building for them to be able to arrest the criminals and bring them back to book. Another thing would be police service application. We want it to be done digitally, and even for the results to be put out digitally so that there are no cases of people bribing and all that. Lastly, to be the Nyumbakumbi initiative, we'd have a policy to ensure that there's a representation of every member of the community, both the youth, the women, and even religious leaders.
Before this, in my political skin, I used to say security profiling is against the masses. Don't do that for my people. Yes. But when you become the president, then the lenses change. You need to protect your people, and so you agree with strategies that work for protection.
For the assignment, the contestants will be judged on their understanding of the task, time management and presentation, creativity and innovation of the solutions provided, and lastly, leadership and group dynamics. Each contestant must write 2 names of who they believe should stay in the academy and tell us the reason why.
Have you actually found what it is that you're looking for in the Miss Presidents?
I think partly at this moment, solely based on how they have presented the assignment given to them. I think they grasp the concept, but maybe they need to sharpen their critical analysis skills. And definitely I trust all the things that they have done up until this point, they do have it in them, right? It's just they need to stop overthinking and just look at the situation that is presented in front of them. A lot of the things that we're seeing the contestants presenting to us is just looking at one side of things. You can't do that. Again, you cannot look at things the same way a normal person walking down the street would look at things. That perspective is important, yes, in different aspects. But as someone who is supposed to be dealing with complex problems, you cannot afford to do that, and you need to divorce yourself from that outlook a lot of the times for you to be able to see the holistic picture.
Why is it that for some very strange reason, especially here in Kenya, whenever we speak of security, it's like something scary, something shrouded in mystery, something that people don't really get to grasp? Judge Michael?
Security has been something which has been shrouded in a lot of so-called mystery. And I mean, for example, how many of you just walk into a police station to say hello?
Because why?
You see, coming from that background, it is not surprising that, as Kenyans, we always and still look back to our history, and in as much as our history should just inform our future and not and not dictate it, I think this is one circumstance where our history when it comes to National Police Service informs our future and it dictates it. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done around that.
I think when we look at national security and in terms of intelligence, we need to think of intelligence as something that we are in touch with every day. So when we're talking about national security, we need to be aware of our surroundings, because self-awareness among the citizens is also one very important thing. But I didn't hear the participants, the contestants say that. Like, aren't we intelligent enough now that we're talking about intelligence to know that I am now being profiled? I am now profiling somebody also. And now the police is profiling me. Like, we are just looking at the police as the perpetrators, but we profile people a lot.
Judge Jerry, have there been cases where profiling has actually helped in national security?
Of course. It's not that profiling is an entirely bad thing. In fact, what I heard from some of the contestants pointing out, they said that indeed it is useful, but it tends to be abused. But generally, what I saw with the presentations that we made today, and I think this is something we have to bring to the attention of the contestants, is they looked at the police force from a very stereotypical point of view.
The tasks for today's assignment are as follows.
Hello, ladies. It's yet another beautiful evening that we are here. We have learned, we have networked, we have had fun together. But before I go on, I'd like to invite our trainer of the day, Rahma Ramadan, to give us her insights.
I think we might have overthought when we're responding to this question. The responses that we were looking for were there in our daily life. It was very disheartening for me to see that, for instance, we're not giving examples of profiling that we see every day. For instance, when we walk into a building, ladies are not searched as much as gentlemen. That is an example of profiling. Yes, we can see how profiling can be done positively and it can help in national security, but we didn't see the other part, which was particularly important because these are the cases that we're seeing every day, yeah? And in the second part, there were more general responses, and the questions were very, very particular. So I think maybe we needed to disturb ourselves more, but yet looking at what is happening every day, what is trending, what national security strategies are responding to, that would have made us have much better presentations and responses.
Just to give you a brief of the comments from the judges for every group, I will start with Judge Michael.
I personally felt that the slides were a bit too busy and they needed to have less words in it. Next time, don't read the slides, because you're reading the slides and we don't need you. Then we can just have the slides and read them for ourselves and you don't need to be in front of us. And then also, you must own the room. Don't stand on the side. Come to the center of the room so that you're owning the room and you're the president. You gave examples which were great. So you spoke about when, women in bars and spiking, but it wasn't really here or there or how that was related to the question that you actually put through. You spoke about the shooting incidences, which was great, but there was no data on it. We're not able to see the gravity of the matter. So again, if you want us to understand the gravity of the situation or the matter, and again, this is to everybody, give a qualifier so that we're able to be grounded with what it is that you're communicating with us. Then finally, the last presenter, Ms. Yaya County, she came the closest and she actually came to the center of the room. And as she was presenting, she was actually doing the eye contact. So you could see that she was then presenting to the room. I can see you spend a lot of time on your tables in terms of preparing your materials, but you hardly spend enough time critiquing your presenters who are going to come here and represent you.
I'll now go to group 2. You need to add more specifics to your work. When you talk about that the police need to have a merit-based qualification, do you really understand the police, or are you also doing profiling of them? Are you negatively profiling our Kenyan police? You are dealing with your own rumors, stereotypes, and misconceptions instead of dealing with facts. And as leaders, you cannot go about thinking of issues as laymen. When it comes to your work, you give us like very few challenges. So when you are given a question, you need to be very specific and focused on what the question is. So the one thing that I think we liked about your work is when it comes to facts, at least you look at the issue of the ratio of 1 policeman to 450. We could say, okay, at least that one gave you a more in-depth view of what the state of the nation is when it comes to police in Kenya. So yes, we cannot talk about retraining. Maybe we can say, maybe we need to recruit more. I'll now give the chance to Judge Njeri.
So I'll just come to group 1 and say some of the things I liked about your presentation, besides even just how you defined profiling, was the fact that you gave us categories. So that gave us a different scope when you're looking at it. You also personalized the story because you brought somebody being misunderstood as Mungiki just because of the choice of the style of your hair. So just like our trainer was saying, that's a very local and contextualized situation which we can all understand. You are now looking at becoming national leaders. So whenever you're looking at policy issues, you focused on the police, which is all right, because generally they're the ones who would be profiling potential criminals or suspects. But you need to have a wider view of the correctional services as well. You need to look at where was the judiciary? What does the DPP do? What does the DCI do? If you understand that ecosystem, then it becomes easier to even start figuring out how one department influences the other and how they should be working. Divorce yourself from your stereotypes. The police have a negative image, and we cannot be the ones who are saying we're going to find solutions and continue to perpetrate the same image that is out there. You are policymakers.
The judges have deliberated, they have made their decision, and remember, their decision is final. Now is the time to know who stays and who leaves.
Ladies, those are very beautiful comments to you. On that note, can Group 1 come forward? Can Valentine Mugun come forward? Vicky Lotede come forward? Valentine Mugun, you are trying to disappear in the crowd. We are not hearing your voice in the competition. Right now, no one can afford to disappear in the crowd. Vicky Lotede, you are also very active in your group. And we keep wondering why you are always up here. Because when we watch you, you're very active. Maybe you need to evaluate how you interact with your group members so that it can help you in your social interactions. Valentine Mugun, we will let you go. I want you to go home understanding that you need to own that space. When you are in a room full of such beautiful and intelligent and powerful women, we need to feel your power too. Let your power not get absorbed into the others.
Personally, I know I'm brilliant. I know I can articulate issues. I thank everyone for your support, my group and everyone. Making it to the top 26 is such a big deal to me, and I will keep it. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Group 2, kindly come forward. Ladies, I'd like to say we have taken long trying to know who amongst you needs to go home. And on that note, we'd like the two to come forward. Aisha Roba, Lilian Muturi. Ladies, this is a very tough competition. And on that note, we want the two of you to convince us why you need to be in the academy.
I stepped out to be the leader of a very great group of brilliant leaders. And I feel today my leadership has been really tested. From trying to bring in great minds together to be able to deliver what we did. And as you have said, we presented in synergy. Meaning when it comes to teamwork, as a leader, I did my part. For that reason, I think I should stay.
For the time that I have been in the academy, I have learnt a lot, we have connected, and I have always been active in my group. And to add on that, the point that stood out for our group today was the racial thing, 1 to 40. And it was my idea. I'm the one who researched on that. And most of the inputs that were given, I also really contributed to that. So give me a chance so that I can continue inspiring those young women outside there. And I believe I will change on whatever the reason that has put me here.
Aisha, Roba, you have really articulated reasons why you need to be here, what you contributed today, what you do in your personal life. You are very specific about what you want. And then Lilian, you have given us reasons, but nothing specific. We feel you are a very strong contestant, but with this competition, each day and its specific task is what will eliminate you. So Lilian Muturi, we believe when you go out there, all the things that you have learned out here are going to make you a better person, and all the networks that you've gotten here, they're going to still inspire your work. So thank you, and congratulations for coming this far.
I am an impactpreneur. I believe in leaving an impact at wherever I go. Guys, I wish you all the best. Don't hide Pale just because of the academy. Come out, test yourself. At the end of the day, go home fulfilled that you are really tried and you know how much and how far you can go.
Next is group 3.
I'm the one who did the tally of the votes that you took. And I noticed some anomalies. What was the reason of conflict in your group?
Allow me to say that we had divergence in opinion in terms of who to present and how to present. How did we resolve who to present? The first opinion we got was, can we give priority to those who have never appeared here before? So that made us to arrive at Bina and Gumato. Then the other two felt like they have a better understanding of the topic and they really wanted to appear to do the presentation. And therefore the 4 of us represented us.
What I think the president is not mentioning is that there was an agreement of time because we had a 10-minute presentation. So we did agree that the 4 presenters were going to split the time into 2 minutes, making it 8, so that the other 2 minutes, if there's anything one presenter overlaps, then we'll take care of that. Allow me to say, judges, with a lot of humility, Miss President Kakamega asked my sister Milka, why did you have to do up to 5 minutes and the rest at time? Then she did mention at that point that there was something you people did not know that I had to put there. And it was a bit demeaning that at the end of the day, we were a team. And so if you remember something that people did not agree, then you shouldn't put there because that is what now pressed again time.
I agree I took long for my presentation. And I think it's something that I even discussed with some of the group members, that the first question is not something that we've actually covered in the class with Mwalimu. I added like 2 or more sentences because I'm the one who was doing most of the research for the first part of the question. The other day when I was presenting, someone was moving the slides for me. So I wasn't able to coordinate my presentation. So when they said that Mvera was going to be moving the slides, I was like, for me, I think it's going to be very confusing. So I'd rather move the slides and then Mvera can come in and do it for the rest.
I think there are 3 important words we've all learned while growing up. Please, thank you, and sorry. When we talk over each other, then we don't come up with a solution. When you feel like someone is actually hurt, you stop to ask them, hey, how have we hurt you? Because we cannot move together forward as a cabinet when someone feels like I don't belong or my opinions are not valid.
Ladies, it is embarrassing for ladies like you of your stature and leadership qualities to even have the kind of argument that you're having. For the first time, more than half the group voted one person out. Milka had 7 votes in a group of 9 people. First of all, Milka, before I go on, can you apologize to your team right now?
I would like to offer my unreserved apology for all the wrong that I have done and for everyone that feels offended today. It's not my style. I have tried my best to work as a team member in every group that I have worked. And so for everything that I have done today, I apologize unreservedly.
The president is Lillian Gore. Lillian, what is the role of a leader in conflict resolution?
My understanding is that the role of a leader where there's conflict is first of all to listen, identify really where is the point of divergence, and then provide a solution.
You know, you said it so clearly. As you understand, and there's a big difference between what you understand and what you believe. I observed you during and the time when the group was together. Do you know what you're doing? Hands up, feet up, not involved. And you're the president. That is a loaded statement from me.
And as a leader, your number one duty is to counter the problem before it escalates to become that big. You let the problem blow up, which makes it seem like as a leader, you allowed it to escalate intentionally. We understand group dynamics like this, and we expect conflict to take place, but we expect the leader to take charge, that such a conflict should not even reach the judge's ears or eyes. Milka, you have to learn to give people a chance to listen to them and to accommodate them, especially if you're working as a team. So yes, that also was not right of you to add things that you felt were gaps. If a group of 9 has decided to leave it out, leave it out. Because nothing justifies going against what the team has decided. Milka, we will allow you another chance in the academy. The whole group cannot all decide to let one person go. It means tomorrow you will all wake up and decide another person goes. It's not about that. If we must have a reason, we must have a good and valid reason. Before we leave, Lillian, perhaps you can give us your final words as you leave the academy.
It is so satisfying that even as I exit, I have a record of leading a group to present one of the best presentation. Personally, as Lillian Gore, I believe in professionalism and a clear conscience. I'm exiting from the academy. I am leaving because someone had to leave. And for me, that someone is me today.
All the 26 votes, you felt that these 3 should stay in the academy to the next episode. And I will call the following forward: Faria Jama, Bina Maseno, and Nuru Mohammed. So we'd like to say congratulations. I'll give you 20 seconds.
In all the groups that I have led, I was a unifying factor. Like I was that person who they will consult, the person who will create slides for them. Thank you so much for that. I believe I'm here to serve you and I've achieved one of my goals.
Thank you so much to each and everyone who voted for me today. To the viewers back at home, to the Chama women leaders, to the Nyumba Kumi leaders, and the young women that we work with in the community, I want you to know that you're the reason I am in this academy, and I hope to give it the best.
I stood before you and told you I will not leave until each one of you learns something from me. Kwale does not have girls who know what it means to be successful in education without looking back. I have to do it.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we continue with our search for looking for the Miss President.
As today's battle comes to an end, here's a quick reminder of who has left the academy and who still remains in the competition.
Leadership requires sacrifice. Leadership shapes you to actually focus on that which is a priority. So yes, I could be going out, but guess what? My team members, the 8 of them that I've left, they have something I've impacted in their lives. And I'm also going out a much stronger person, because I'm not just going to assume that when you want things, they come and it will always be smooth. I will always get obstacles, just like any other person.
I'm grateful for this far. It's been tough, and I think I've been tougher because getting to the top 26 out of the pool of many, 700 plus, for me it was great. So all I can say, it was a great adventure. And for every young lady out there who believes in themselves, who believe they can do it, go out there and do it. Because if you do nothing, you really never know whether you can. For me, I'm fulfilled that for real I can, and you'll see me more.
It was a sacrifice to be here, but it was a decision that I'm really, really proud of. This built me. So when I get back to Kericho, I have an organization known as the Barrier Breakers, and we are targeting 100 girls to go back to school because Kericho was really affected during the COVID period, and so many girls dropped out because they got pregnant. So it is my hope, and I know I'm a voice to those young mothers.
As this group of women continues on the long and grueling journey that will demand their very best, we can only cheer and urge them to put their best foot forward. I challenge you now with this quote from Golda Meir, former Prime Minister of Israel. To be or not to be is not a question of compromise. Either you be or you don't be. And when it comes to national security, there's no compromise. Thoughts, opinions, compliments, suggestions, tweet us on @media_focus. Find us on Facebook at MFA Media Focus on Africa, and on Instagram at Media Focus on Africa. This show will be uploaded to YouTube. To view this episode and other episodes, including the full training session, kindly click on the link provided to access the Miss President YouTube channel. And remember to click, like, and subscribe to the only show where you never really know until you know.